I mean, I said this on the road. How many times did I say this on the road, John, when we were driving? We were on a 3-state swing state trip. I saw billboards from Harris. I think it was in all the states. Harris supports raising the minimum wage. To what? And how? There were other billboards. Kamala Harris supports Social Security. Oh, okay, you got me. Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up. I think everything we have said and we have covered over the years, the results of this election support everything we have said and covered over the last couple of years. 2 out of the 3 elections I've covered, Democrats have lost the presidency. And the common theme is they ran the exact same campaign, Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris. As I said in 2020, when Democrats got cocky, that, the takeaway from Biden winning should not be, oh, see, right-wing Democrats are popular. And Trump winning in 2016 was just a fluke. It was just a bad candidate in Hillary Clinton. I don't think we should overreact to Trump's victory either, because when it is all said and done, although it looks like he will win in an a significant electoral college victory, we also have to look at the numbers. When all the numbers are out, it does not look like he is going to win a lot of these swing states by more than a point or so. So it's not like Trump had a Ronald Reagan landslide. And let me first get into Morning Joe, because I wanted to fucking throw a goddamn rock through the TV. These fucking elitist limousine assholes, limousine liberals on Morning Joe. I was stunned. And Colin, if you're watching, you're gonna have to find this and clip it. Mike Barnacle, who's a longtime Morning Joe panelist, I think he was a newspaper columnist for a long time. He said something accurate. The only problem is 99% of the time, networks like MSNBC and CNN pretend this is not the case. He said
it had an impact about 4 or 5 times larger than the abortion ruling did, Joe, because the Democrats somehow have forgotten the lived economy of their citizens, of the people they represent. The lived economy occurs in grocery stores. It occurs at gas stations. Every single day, you see people filling up their tanks half full because of the cost of gas. You see people cutting back on groceries because of the cost of groceries. And yet the Democrats kept talking and talking and talking about this booming economy.
Ding, ding, ding. You mean what I've been saying for the last decade? That it's all bullshit? We don't actually have a strong economy. We live in a new fucking gilded age. We live in the economic Hunger Games where essentially all the money is being stolen from the middle and the bottom and given to the anchors on Morning Joe and their 1%. So he said, a Morning Joe host or panelist this morning said, there's a difference between a strong economy by the numbers and the lived economy. But then the rest of the Morning Joe crew, several of them took a different lesson from Harris losing, again, to an orange orangutan used car salesman. Sorry if you're watching, MAGA. He is. They said Bill Maher was right. Former progressive, now just old, angry boomer Bill Maher. Bill Maher was right, and the Democrats went too woke.
But Willie, we need to talk about the trans ad that Donald Trump ran 30,000 times. I think he spent $30 million on it, according to NPR. And Jack and I are watching football on YouTube TV, and you can see 4 screens. That ad's popping up all fall. In rural America, guys across the Midwest, younger guys who are Hispanic, younger guys who are black guys, they're all looking at that going, okay, man, she's weird. And as Bill Maher said, it's like, she's like really too liberal. And Bill Maher said, that ad out there is basically saying there's nothing that the left will not say no to. That ad had a bigger impact than any ad that ran, and that's why they ran it 30,000 times.
Classic straw man. Normal people, normal voters, trans athletes, trans men swimming in women's sports is not even on their top 10 list. Okay? Harris and the Democrats did not lose because things were too woke or Democrats embraced cancel culture. It's a very simple thing why they lost. The bottom line is our media is owned by corporations, and most of the multi-billion-dollar corporations, and most of the anchors and high-level journalists who are in the media, CNN, the MSNBC, then you go to the high level, New York Times, Washington Post, all these columnists. I mean, these are millionaires, okay? They're completely disconnected from reality on the ground. And we just covered that. We just covered that on the road. We went in and we interviewed a couple African-American women, lifetime Democratic Party people. I think they were in their 60s maybe, and they had knocked on the doors for Democrats, and they had been lifelong Democrats. And I was shocked, they told me they were considering Trump.
But I do feel that under the Democrats, we are seeing less representative. We got more poverty.
All of this was under Democrats, so.
So are you feeling for yourself that you would consider Trump, or?
I would consider.
And if you have the choice of the lesser evil, to me, evil is evil.
They were fed up with the Democratic Party in Michigan, in Detroit. They were fed up with the gentrification, which is pushing them out. They were fed up with every election is the same message. This is the most important election of our lifetime. Stop the fascists, stop the extremists, stop this. And, they do that, but then nothing fundamentally changes for them. So if you feel like you're basically being fed hot air and a hot air balloon over and over and over again, eventually you're going to want something different. You're going to want something different, and you're going to make rationalizations to yourself to ignore all the horrible things about that guy Trump because, prices were lower under Trump. Joe Biden, when these oil companies were price gouging gas prices, right? Joe Biden, his response was to send harshly worded letters to them, sternly asking them to lower the prices. Well, you know what John F. Kennedy did in 1962? Before the CIA got him? John F. Kennedy in 1962, when U.S. Steel was artificially price gouging, hiking the price for steel, he came out and he said, "Oh, you want to hike the price for steel, U.S. Steel?" And steel back then, we were making steel in America. We weren't offshoring it to other countries at that point. John F. Kennedy said, "Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull your submarine contracts to U.S. Steel. So we're taking that away from you. The government is going to have another company make our submarines, our steel for our submarines. We're going to give that contract to other steel companies that aren't price gouging."
The simultaneous and identical actions of United States Steel and other leading steel corporations increasing steel prices by some $6 a ton constitute a wholly unjustifiable and irresponsible defiance of the public interest. To accept a situation in which a tiny handful of steel executives whose pursuit of private power and profit exceeds their sense of public responsibility can show such utter contempt for the interests of 185 million Americans. A few gigantic corporations have decided to increase prices in ruthless disregard of their public responsibilities.
U.S. Steel buckled the same week and lowered the prices. Joe Biden could have done the same exact thing. Do you know that the federal government gives the fossil fuel industry, or as I accurately call them, the fossil fuckers, they give the fossil fuckers $15 billion in free money every year. $15 billion in free money every year. Corporate welfare. He could have said, "Hey, you don't lower those prices to where they should be, not the price gouging you're doing, we're pulling your federal subsidies." Very simple thing. Could have done it, didn't do it. Why didn't he do it? Because who is the most heavily invested in the fossil fuel industry? Do you know, John? Wall Street. The banks are the most heavily invested in fossil fuel companies. So is Joe Biden going to go after the fossil fuel industry? If Joe Biden's biggest donors, Wall Street, would be hurt? I don't think so. Other countries, by the way, have laws against this kind of price gouging. The United States doesn't. Why? Because our government is run by the very corporations that are doing the price gouging. It's not simple. It's that simple. So Harris, when her message was, we're going to do something about grocery price gouging. Okay, well, how? And how quickly? How are you going to lower the cost of housing? I mean, I said this on the road. How many times did I say this on the road, John, when we were driving? We were on a 3-state swing state trip. I saw billboards from Harris. I think it was in all the states. Harris supports raising the minimum wage. To what?
And how?
And how? There were other billboards. Kamala Harris supports Social Security. Oh, okay, you got me. You support Social Security. I mean, it was all vague. At least Biden ran on raising the minimum wage to $15. I mean, he quickly abandoned it, but at least he offered, like, I'm going to raise the minimum wage to $15. At least he offered a public option. He quickly abandoned all those things. Harris didn't offer those things. And you could say, well, Jordan, devil's advocate, she did offer a $6,000 child tax credit. She did offer a $25,000 down payment for first-time homebuyers. I'm sorry, folks. Whether you love or hate Bernie Sanders, and I happen to be closer to the love, even though I'm not happy with him currently. Bernie Sanders, he wasn't offering small ball tax credits, okay? He was offering government health care, free health care. He was offering free college, major climate policy. These were bold things, okay? Kamala Harris was offering, like I always say, you got to look at it like you're at a restaurant and the plate. You have the main meal in the middle and then the side dishes. She was just offering the side dishes. She's offering, tinkering around the edges. She's not offering you that juicy steak or tofu, whatever that, if you're a vegan. I mean, Harris ran Hillary Clinton's campaign. I tweeted this a couple weeks ago. She is literally running Hillary Clinton's campaign. She is going around, only she went further to the right than Hillary Clinton did. Hillary Clinton was trying to court Republican donors, and Hillary Clinton was trying to get never Trumpers. And I said at the time, there's not enough moderate or never Trump Republicans to make up for all the young people and progressives you are pushing away. Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris didn't have the courage to say, if I become president, we're going to have to really evaluate how we're helping Israel. We're going to have to strongly consider if they are breaking the law and breaking international law, pulling back on arms. Okay? We're going to have to strongly consider cutting off funding for what they're doing in Gaza. She didn't have the courage to do that. She also didn't have the courage to even allow a Palestinian to speak on stage at the DNC. The age group, age 18 to 29, which is the youth, was down by 3%. Again, these are the initial exit polls, so it might actually get worse than that. But voter turnout among age 18 to 29, so that's Gen Z, maybe a little millennial, that's down 3% compared to 4 years ago. And Kamala Harris dropped. Not only did youth turnout drop, but Kamala Harris performed 5 points lower than Joe Biden. I believe, and John, I think you would agree, considering you've covered over 100 of these protests and it's a shit ton of young people out. Yeah. I believe part of that youth turnout drop-off and part of why Harris lost 5% compared to Biden among the youth is because of the Gaza issue.
Free Palestine! We need our Palestine! Within our lifetime! Hands up, listen now! Hands up, listen now!
When you're talking about close election, and still, even though Trump is it looks like he's going to win every swing state. If you look at each swing state, he's only going to win a lot of the key swing states by about a point. So if it's only a point, then you got to look at these margins. When you lose 3% of the youth vote, meaning there's a drop of the youth vote by 3%. And then you look even further and she falls back. She does worse than Biden by 5 points. That can make a big difference. Then you look at what I believe is the Rogan vote, which we saw yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So tell me, do you get most of your stuff from TikTok? Do you get most of your stuff from a larger news outlet? Where did you kind of get into politics, what you were watching?
Podcast. Joe Rogan.
Yeah, podcast.
Joe Rogan. And
Trump overperformed among men aged 18 to 29. And that's why he was going on Joe Rogan. That's why he was going on these bro podcasts. And no offense, a lot of these dudes, they're very naive and they don't know anything. I just interviewed 2 of them yesterday. One of them's the first question I asked after they told me Trump, he's funny.
I voted for him because I think that, first off, he's funny.
And MSNBC also said, oh, what do you know? Just running on Trump is bad is not a great strategy.
Yeah, it turned out, based on the result last night, that saying Donald Trump is bad, which I think we agree he is in many ways, is not a winning campaign message in America. In fact, Donald Trump grew his margins in 90% of the counties.
You mean what myself and others have been screaming for nearly a decade? Latinos also helped Trump win. He got, by the numbers now, 45% of Latinos. And it seems that he won Latino men. That is a big, big, big gain for Trump. He gained 25 points among Latinos. 25 points. He did as well as George W. Bush. That's the last time a Republican got, I think Bush got 44%. So he did as well as any Republican since 2004. Now, what was the message Democrats were giving, mainly pushing to Latinos? Democrats have wrongly believed for decades the main issue for Latinos is immigration. It is a major issue. It's not the main issue because these people don't shit differently than us. They don't breathe differently than us. And they still have to do the same things as us. Work, put food on the table. For a lot of Latinos, just like a lot of black people, just like people. I don't care what skin color you are. The top issue is economy, inflation, whatnot. Democrats' main message to Latinos was the border bill and that Trump sabotaged the border bill, which, by the way, Biden and Harris were pushing a right-wing border bill to begin with. It's a terrible bill. Very right-wing. But that's the Democrats' main message to Latinos was Trump, we would have had a border bill and had comprehensive immigration reform, but Trump sabotaged that. Okay, but that's assuming that that's their top issue. It doesn't seem that it was their top issue. Well, what did Bernie Sanders do that Kamala Harris did not do? I don't know. Offer actual economic policy that might fucking help people significantly? Universal health care, free college, Green New Deal. I mean, we could go down the list. You could say, again, Jordan, but Trump wasn't offering anything. It doesn't matter. This is not a conference where we're discussing policy. People, in some ways, if your policy is bold, like Bernie, vote on policy. But people mostly vote on how they feel. People mostly vote on how they feel, their fears, their current situation, not on, well, Hillary Clinton had a very thorough 12-point plan. That's not how people vote. We've got a long road ahead of things to cover. And we're not only going to be covering Trump. We're going to continue to cover the things that you know we cover, like Flint, East Palestine, the corporate sacrifice zones, environmental genocide, workers being exploited. But we need funding to do it. So please, please sign up for just $5 a month. StatusCoup.com/join. We prefer you to sign up as a member through our website, but you also can sign up on YouTube if you prefer. And we're going to do our monthly members call. So if you're a member, we do a monthly members call through a program like Zoom.